Good morning from Bangkok, Thailand. I'm from Bangkok. Welcome to a session of Horasis Asia Meeting 2020. This session is about realization of sustainable society triggered by Covid-19. It's my pleasure to serve as the chair of these sessions. My name is Worsak, Kanok-Nukulchai, Executive Director of Chulalongkorn School of Integrated Innovation in Thailand. And with us, we have the 5 panelists: Neha, Berlia, member of the management board; Apeejay, Stya Group in India. Then we have the Chen, managing partner of SZLT-iSource consulting group in Taiwan. Then we have the Manish, Karkhanis, Managing Director of Spatial Impacts, Australia. Then we have Kunihiko, Shimada, Chief Executive Officers of KS International Strategies in Japan. And last but not least, Wang, President and CEO of EBI International USA. So these are some of the talking points that we are assigned to during the current pandemic. A lot of us start to be familiar with working from home, what they call telework and online meeting. Is this going to be sustainable? This is the first question. Second one, many business entities are now emphasizing on green environment with the aim to achieve sustainable society. Is this trend going to continue? This is the second question. The panelists shall address on the above two issues, whether they will be sustainable after everything is fully recovered, and what more can be done, to encourage deep sustainability. I'm going to show you the 5 points that I think is going to become new normal. The only question is whether this will be sustainable. The first is that work from home, seem to be a new normal. Many companies start to think about continue this even after the pandemic, because they can cut down not only the cost of the office overheads, but also the traveling time of the employee. The second one, because of working from home, gig economy can turn mainstream because people now can work anywhere. So they can take many jobs. So they can become freelancer, they can become on-call employee. And they said this could even be new normal for regular employees. Number 3, because of this pandemic, many companies want to rely less on foreign supply chain. And then perhaps where one big corporate, global corporate, spreading around the world may change into the era of alliance, partnership. Number 4, since you can work anywhere, product and services can be digitized, then you can get job anywhere, produce anywhere, and deliver anywhere, So this could be a norm. And the last one, the greener norm for Mother Earth. Investors are now thinking about the new role in order to develop greener product to make sure that the world will be a beautiful place to live, as we experience during the social slowdown during this pandemic. Okay, so these are the 5 things that I would like to share. I will turn over to the first panelist, Ms. Neha Berlia. The floor is yours.
Okay. Very good morning. So I would like to first start by explaining about what our business is. So I am a 3rd generational family business owner. We own a large conglomerate in India. We are a 50+ year old group. We are known for education. So we have a large number of schools across India, as well as higher education. We have a university and college campuses. This was started way back when, post-independence in India. So we've been in India for a very long time. We also have overseas real estate and other businesses, and as well as an old pharma company where we do both formulations as well as APIs. So today's talk for me about COVID is, covering a large set of segments in terms of, when I talk about the education side, how we have managed the current scenario has been very different when I compare to the corporate side. So I'll touch upon quickly with what we've been doing in the education side. So in the education side, we have teachers and students, as well as faculty, as well as some of the principals, directors, and those and the academic sort of people. And what we've done is it was fairly easier, I would say, to get online education started for us. We had estimated, we were as a family sitting in New York during the time of the pandemic, and we expected this to happen. So we were in time to have bought those extra laptops and managed to give it all to our faculty. And so that part of things worked well. In fact, even students coming on Zoom nowadays, if I look at the Indian students, and a lot of them had computers. And for those who didn't, we were able to help them be able to get them. And so the education side, I think, has been more or less now streamlined. If you look at that, hopefully, however, this is not the norm one wants. Education, children do have to come to schools, but that has been working well. And even for the higher education colleges, students and professors and faculty, they're on top of board. And in fact, it's been good for us in a way, because a lot of those faculties we wanted for guest lectures are now easily giving those guest lectures because they're giving them on video. So a lot of them we are able to tap a lot of very good talks and lectures and academic talks, which we're not able to do when we had to have them physically come into the campuses. So that's been on the education side. But now moving on to the corporate side. So I personally look at a lot of the administration and overall the campuses, as well as, some of our corporate side in the offices and managing real estate projects and construction. So to touch upon what those in those businesses and in terms of real estate, also construction, there's a significant change in the mindset of people. And what I have noticed is that we had to initially really push them to start with the video platforms, and some of them by installing softwares on their phone, or by giving them smartphones and to do all that. But now when that started, I'm finding a huge increase in their output compared to what it was when pre-COVID. We've been, I think what has helped, I would start by that, has been regular interactions, which were not happening earlier. So earlier we would wait for a meeting which would happen once a month or once in 2 months. I'm talking about the very junior staff. I'm not talking about the very senior level of people. And somehow it's all a collective effort. But now, personally, myself, I find myself interacting with a lot of people on the ground. And because of video, we've been able to do that. And because of not having to have them physically in the office or physically having to meet them, it's been working. And what in my personal experience I have noticed is that a lot of them are performing better. So a lot of the performance of such people has increased, even though, and especially during the pandemic, a lot of them went through a major, it's not only just like sitting at home, but it is also children sitting at home, family sitting at home. So we as an organization, I think, needed to support them in a manner where they could feel comfortable, as well as they feel in a positive sense of a push, where you have a weekly meeting or you have a daily meeting. So just coming about some tips which have helped us. I'm not saying everybody has not responded that well. So we have some people, one has to work a little bit more, and some people have been more automatic in this crisis and have done very, very well. I would say the mindset has been more about something which we have focused on as a group, and I think a lot of these people, they have, in our case, taken it very positively. But I'll end now because I think my time is over. Thank you.
Thank you so much for keeping the time. Then we go to the next panelist, Miss Chen. The floor is yours.
Okay. Hi, hello. Good morning, everyone. Hi. This is Claire. Let me give you a little bit background on mine. And I have been working about 15 years in this senior executive management by bridging business culture from the west to the east. in many different industries such as fashion, entertainment, tech, e-commerce, digital media, and startup in the San Francisco, Silicon Valley, Sydney, Melbourne, and Shanghai, also Taipei. And now we are a boutique business advisory investment management consulting in representation by managing investment project with our clients and partners, working closely with the private equity, family office, and high-net-worth individual for impact investment on sustainable commercial real estate development, clean tech, clean energy, biotech, biopharma in Taipei, Silicon Valley, Amsterdam, Munich, Auckland. We also help start up raising funds. We are also the officially representative for one of the Netherlands venture biopharma major capital company for their portfolio in Europe. That's about it. And so about the COVID-19, for this realization of the sustainable society for triggered by the COVID-19, I think we have been changing our life, differently now to this new normal life, which is everybody is doing business or through online technology, and you can using all the current technology through the communication or Zoom call or Skype conference call. Email is pretty much nowadays, and either stay office or stay home, communicate through the internet and messages. So for the business form are changing to those consider environment sustainable towards realizations of the sustainable society, and where the companies and both new and traditional be sustainable into the full recovery future. And what more is needed to encourage the deep sustainability? I do have some idea to point out. Like we can actually look at the environment in particular to the practice for this sustainability initiative to consider the more wide range the potential effects. We can identify this opportunity to incorporate the sustainable principles into the regulator and enforce incentive-based the partnership program or design the target the strategy, including the identify approach appropriate goals to advance for some areas. So even we can using the deep tech, think about the current technology to make the our work better. Such as I can give you some example. For we have a biopharma project right now, the COVID-19, right? So not just only vaccine, but we need a drug. So if there is a drug treatment for a cure, that would be good. It's part of the impact as well. And we talk about the clean energy. Then we can think about if we can use more solar, energy, or develop the geothermal clean energy. That could be all good for the Mother Earth. That can be all sustainable. And we also can look at the smart city and for the future, and using the technology through the deep tech to combine with the blockchain, fintech, and through this green zone to create this smart city. I think that we can look at all of this area. Hello? Thanks.
Thank you, Claire. Then we move to the next panelist, Mr. Manish Karkhanis, Managing Director, Spatial Impacts from Australia. The floor is yours, Manish.
Thanks, Worsak. Good afternoon and good day to everybody. This is Manish Karkhanis from Gold Coast, Australia. I'm the owner and the managing director of Spatial Impacts, which is a boutique international business development company, which was formed in the year 2009. And we have been proactively assisting trade between India and Australia, as well as Australia and Asia and Middle East. So we've been helping companies set up shop in these countries, as well as companies and businesses that are keen to look at Australia as another market, or maybe for expansion, to set up shop here and have a look at coming into this part of the world, which is a bit far away from the rest of the world, so as to say. But this is an upcoming and a growing country, and we've been helping big companies to come here and do the initial research and set up shop and introduce their various products and services. So with this engagement, I've got the opportunity to travel a lot. So I've been particularly spending 10 to 15 days every month out of Australia across Asia and Middle East. And being a small business, I have been more impacted by the coronavirus, because it's more to do with international travel and dealing with people face to face. But like with the other panelists, we are here to talk about how we can be sustainable in the future because of this pandemic. So the recovery of this would largely depend on companies being sustainable. We can't say we will wait for recovery and then be sustainable. The road to on everybody to sustainable practices. Now, like Neha has mentioned that Apeejay is a huge group. I know them. I've grown them. I've grown in India, so I know about them. It's a well-reputed group. So a group like that, when they resort to having online and video conferencing and interacting with the employees, is the sustainable practices. But for smaller businesses who need to go out and meet people day to day, so such businesses need to find out new and innovative ways of doing business. We also need to have a look at existing practices. What are the practices that are actually helping us progress and also are not being too demanding on the natural resources? Because consumerism is something which is quite rampant today. I mean, we could do with the second or the third car. We could do with the second or the third mobile. I mean, we need to take stock of what actually is the need of the hour. Avoiding excess by way of allocating resources rather than just rampantly exploiting resources. We need to find out how we can allocate these resources in areas and different implementations. We also need to have a much more holistic way of life. Now, thanks to the coronavirus and the restrictions on travel, almost everybody had to spend almost more than 8 to 10 months sitting at home or maybe working from home. So government and companies also need to think about policies on large-scale production. Countries need to think about the export policies, because we need to be self-sufficient before we actually start exporting stuff overseas. Also, there's a beautiful concept now which is being practiced in Paris and also in Melbourne, which is called the 15-minute cities, where big corporates are having their employees and their operations in cities where there's not much commute required. So all the necessity requirements are within that 15-minute radius. So that is going to reduce the carbon imprints of people having to travel far away from work, relying too much on cars and oil or gases. So people are going to use more cycle or walk to work. So that these are the ways where we can think of being sustainable, and this is where the future is. This is what I feel, and I thank you for the opportunity to talk, and I wish the panelists a very good day as well. Thank you.
Thank you. We have two more. Next, Mr. Kunihiko Shimada, Chief Executive Officer of KS International Strategies, Japan. The floor is yours, Kuni.
Thank you, Worsak. My name is Kunihiko Shimada, and I would like to say good morning and hello to everybody who are watching this and also joining this session. And I'm currently serving as a CEO of the KS International Strategies. It's the kind of consulting advisory firm on the many different areas, from the conflict resolution towards the climate change and sustainability and so on. And I've been working as a peace mediator for the last 20 years. I also have been to the war zones and also tried to resolve the questions. But also using the communication negotiation skills, I've also working with the companies who can enhance the kind of communication strategies, how they can just face the risk situations well through the communication strategies and so on. And also I'm currently working with the several hospitals and also welfare care centers in Japan and also in some other countries to how to enhance their business models and also how to respond to the risks or costs caused by the COVID-19. So that's what I've been doing, and I've been doing many different things. So if I just try to introduce myself, I use up my own 4 minutes. So let me just go back to let me go to the point. And first of all, this session asks 2 or 3 questions. Actually, first of all, I would like to say the companies, or maybe representative companies, need to ask those questions to themselves and come up with their own responses, because this will help them transform to more sustainable, or I would say the efficient forms of the businesses. But let me touch upon the 3 major issues. One is actually how we can prepare and respond to the risks. Second is actually, as the 5th slide, the Worsak prepared greener future. And the third one is actually more the change in the mode of work. First of all, during the COVID-19 pandemic, people and firms have also faced the challenges from other kinds of massive risks, or massive, the threats by another kind of virus, which is actually cybersecurity. So we got lots of internet, the viruses, and which also cause a huge problem, financial losses, and to many countries, even it's a huge amount of money. So that's one thing. While we're working on the COVID-19 responses, we also need to react to the other kinds of viruses, so-called the cybersecurity. So we need to come up with let's say the firms need to establish and enhance their own business continuation plan or business continuation management strategies immediately before the world seems to overcome the costs and damages caused by massive economic and psychological turmoil through the COVID-19 pandemic. That's the first one. Second thing is, in whichever sectors these companies are operating, each of them needs to come up with concrete strategies aiming to transform their business styles towards the decarbonization. Because the systems, especially globalization system, is we are aiming for the economic efficiency, but also cause lots of emits a lots of the greenhouse gases. So using this opportunity, when all transports or interactions are stopped, we may need to come up with the new strategies how we can just run the business in the more eco-friendly. So that's also one of the key criteria for maintaining sustainability to the business, the practices. Third one is I would like to touch upon the change in the mode of work. It means we need to make a shift from the traditional working styles and management style to the new style by using the IT-based platform fully. So it means also no more long hour commuting and mindset that everybody needs to be at office. So most of the administrative works can be and should be done remotely via secure internet, while there's some productive works like negotiation mediation, which I'm doing, needs to be still conducted face to face. So that's one of the ways I also working on the AI. That's why I would suggest you to accelerate the effective application of the artificial the intelligence and human resource reshuffle, especially given the capacity building training to those who are affected by the introduction of the AI. Let's say let's train how to use the AI in order to achieve goals or realize what companies would like to achieve. So this will help firms maintain the level of employment, and that's what I would like to add at the end. Thank you very much.
Thank you. Well, we go to this George Wang, President and CEO, EBI International, United States. Please.
Hey, thank you very much. Well, I'm the one actually today is on the North America continent. My name is George Wang. This is the evening of the Sunday here. My company, what we do in the last 21 years, we started a company basically implementing we call that global concurrent engineering. So what it does is somebody has an idea, a new innovation, want to build a product, and he may be done the earlier design concept. So what we do, we finalize the engineering design and then manufacturing process design, and then find out the subcontractors in China, Taiwan, Vietnam, India, Thailand, actually, where we have Australia. We work with them together, form up of JIT model to build a product and eventually packaged and shipped over to countries worldwide. So that's what we do. And then the product ranging, from consumer product and, the silicon product, bottles or shared bag, GPS, electronics, or you have those big companies like Honeywell or whatever, those big guys, they have specialty design. And from the designer, they are looking for where in the world somebody can really build this part for me. Of course, they have their own sourcing team, but we are the specialists helping to get the manufacturing process developed and built. As we speak, in the last 21 years, we have been serving pretty much clients-wise in the US, of course, and then Europe, Australia, Africa, all over the place. And our resource manufacturing or engineering capabilities are also deployed worldwide. So our goal is really to help a lot of innovations and get the job done at a global scale and get the products built fast, lower cost, and best utilizing the water resource. Easy to say, very hard to do. Anyway, so back to the sustainability of this COVID-19, and this is since I'm the only one from the US here, it has been like a joke being watched by the worldwide to see what's happening in the US. As we speak, we're locked down again. So I sneaked around and come to the office because this meeting is essential. So it has been a major impact to everyone. And I think to some extent, a lot of business families in this chaotic mode is kind of like a shattered, spiritually. So it's really bad. That's why you see all these angry people doing this, doing that, right? So on the positive side, it's definitely greener because no job, or you are not allowed to go. But that's only for the white collar jobs. But for other business, restaurants, they've been struggling. Service business is kind of like 70% of the U.S. That's what they do, right? So they are all having this major impact, and the productivity is pretty much gone at least 40-60% down. So anything you order is made locally, you're not going to see it in the next several months. It's just really bad. So that's of course, there are some high-tech companies, on the both coastal areas, with online every stuff, those are the guys really benefiting from it, Amazon, everybody else. So So this is there are all these inspirational speakers talking about, the world. This pandemic only accelerated the change. It sooner or later will be like this anyway, right? But I guess, this is kind of more like a Darwin thing, So basically, you have to adapt. And what can you do, right? Before the vaccine available in the next year. So I think technically all we can do is through this video conferencing, right? We call 6 ways of communication, instant messenger like WeChat or whatever, video conference, Zoom, Team things, and email, of course. So all we have to do, I think, really on the execution side is really how do we develop everyone to be an actor in front of the camera. If you're not good at it, you're gone. And then there are a lot of companies, a lot of traditional business, they do not even know how to use a computer, right? They just got whipped out. No more job anymore. So it's kind of a sad story. But I think on the positive side, just from the execution side, at least for me, I'm training everyone I know of, employee or whatever. Go use your camera. You have to learn how to do that now because that's the way to survive. So I just recommend people do that. Something a little bit aside from the big thing we cannot change anyone, not even Trump. so have to do something control like everybody else said, right? Okay, use the cell phone, use the camera, use the video conference. Let's do that. If you do that earlier, you have a better chance to survive. Or you are at it. And of course, I think, let me draw back a little bit. So in Asia, like Taiwan, China, Japan, everybody, right? Thailand, except for India, everybody else is really in good shape. So U.S. is now it's out of control. Basically, now most big cities right now is we're all locked down again, and the only hope is that vaccine. So we're just waiting for that thing to come up. Anyway, green at a cost, so there's not much smoke anymore. But we are trying hard to be online. Everything. Anything we can do. So it's a sharpen the skill. So, yeah.
Thank you very much. What we will do next would be to invite some of the audience, who want to either comment or ask questions. Is there anybody from the audience who would like to say anything? We have another 9 minutes. So each one can say about 2-3 minutes. Anybody else want to say anything? Okay.
So actually, I just wanted to add, in my talk regarding this, that I feel, I know everybody has their own different perspective depending on the industry and size and country as well. But generally speaking, what I wanted to, one thing, of course, the whole idea of digital is something we have to get used to. And also protecting what we do, and the conversations which one used to have, which were earlier which were earlier done say face to face. Now we have to protect them as well. So how we do the video calls and how we manage all that is another conversation, as well as another step which one needs to look at in this new age. But apart from that, I felt that feel like the management of HR and also allocation, especially for India, a lot of us are used to hiring and thinking of the roles and not really allocating resources effectively. And somewhere this whole crisis for us, I feel, has taught a bit more of managing HR in terms of really specific HR for job descriptions, making sure that the day-to-day is really well established. Each employee, in fact, people, so that they can look in the day and they can record their tasks. If they have to do it on a computer, we should be able to see that. And it's motivational, as well as it's good for the managers to check. So these are some new things which we are now having to learn. And I think hopefully in the next few months or time to come, we will get better at this, and that I think should help also for us to combat or to get adjusted to the new normal. Let's put it that way. Thank you.
The participant, anybody want to say anything? If not, then we go
Hi,
to.
I would like to emphasize something. Hi.
Okay. Yeah.
We are the advisory investment consultancy, and we working closely with two capitals in the US and also Europe. We are looking at the startup companies at the growth stage for scalable. There's our advisor partner, which is with this capital company, have 500 million US dollar ready to invest for 2020 and 2021 for this startup. And this startup market is for Asia Pacific and US and Europe, only at growth stage and scalable. In the deep tech, such as Internet of Things, AI, and the fintech development or digital content systems that's what we are looking at. But with all the licenses has to be in one place, of course. Thank you.
Thank you.
You guys welcome to reach out. That's it.
Mr. Mani, you have anything to say to wrap up? Yeah.
Yes, thanks, Manchuk. Is like I said, the road to recovery would depend upon companies adopting sustainable practice. And I'm just repeating myself that we can't wait for recovery to adopt sustainable practice. It has to be done, and that's how we will achieve the recovery more faster. And planning ahead, taking whatever has been the learning, take this 1 year as a learning, plan and strategize according to the future. So if we don't learn anything from this 1 year that we have got, then I think a big learning is lost. And we need to have a much more holistic way of life rather than just focusing more on consumerism, is what I feel. Thank you.
Okay, thank you. Kuni, anything from you as a final wrap-up?
Yeah, thank you, and I completely agree with those three who have already stated, the additional comments. Plus, my case is, I rather use for example, UK Prime Minister Boris Johnson just said, rather than the recovery, we should go for the build back better. It's also like Joe Biden also mentioned in the United States. So that's the kind of mentality, psychology is needed for realizing the sustainable society after the COVID. One thing is actually, in my case, my job is actually more 90% is international. So I definitely need international travels to see the people, to do the actual mediation of the war, and also cases, even like a firm like a wars between 2 farms and 3 farms. But we may also need to focus on the local, where we are. Using this opportunity. The working with the community, working with the local community is also the way to have the realization of sustainable society, building upon something we already experienced by the COVID-19. So that's one thing I would like to add to the discussion. Thank you.
Thank you. George, your final say? George Wang?
Yes, I'm here. Yeah, well, it's very interesting. Glad to hear a lot of comments. So from my understanding, so right now, hopefully by Q3 next year, when the vaccine is applied, then people can come back to a new life. And this will be totally different from before, because there are a lot of businesses that are wiped out already. They have to regrow from the whatever seed they left. And so that's for a lot of business. Of course, leading one, right? They are different. Amazon, they're benefiting. They don't care. They're the one benefiting from this. But how about almost 90% of business? They have to figure out a way how to restart their business, let alone or scale anything. So being green, being sustainable, I think the genetic is kind of fused in through this one way or the other. If you are the survivor, you will bear that mentality already. So again, I think at this moment, adapting the new way of communicating like this. So, of course, everybody here, that's common. But for 90% of people, they don't. That's the second part, So I don't know what's going to happen. But the young kids, they all start Zoom call, school, right? For a lot of adults, they're just hiding in there, So learn the skill, learn to be an actor.
Okay.
So
we have the 25 seconds left, so I would like to just make a conclusion of these sessions. I think we are not sure how long this pandemic is going to continue. But during this pandemic time, we have found, many good practice. And we also enjoy better environment when we are slowing down our social living. And we hope that something that we found to be good can continue and being sustainable. So thank you very much for your contribution, and look forward to meeting and working with all of you. Thank you so much.
Thank you.
Thanks, everybody. Pleasure meeting you. Thank you.
Bye-bye.
Bye.